Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the June TBR. This is where I set my intentions for what I'm going to read in the month of June and only stick to about 60% of what I'm going to say, and then I go off on a tangent and just have a bunch of random mood reads throughout the month. Can anyone else relate to that? So, the theme of last month's TBR was catching up on series that I've started and that I'm about to finish. And I did a pretty good job there. I only read 4 books that were off that list. I did a good job finishing off quite a few of the series that I started. Though I still got plenty of catching up to do. So the reading theme for June is carrying over that same theme from May, where we've got a series to finish off, but also adding in a few new things of I want to check out some more classic fantasy and sci-fi. I need some more historical work, maybe historical fiction or maybe just historical. And then I need something that's a classic but sits outside of the fantasy and sci-fi genre. So diving into the series that I need to continue reading first, The Breaker of Chains by Tim Fasciola. And I absolutely loved book one of this trilogy. It was very Game of Thronesy, very much political fantasy. We get a ton of POVs from both sides of this sort of conflict going on. We've got a country that's just been united in the last generation and it's about to fall apart. So that same sort of Game of Thrones vibe. We've just had war and it looks like the country is going to go back to that. But we also get a vibe like Russell Crowe's Gladiator. We get a ton of Roman influences and we have a chosen one who is currently a slave in the gladiator pits who was sent by the gods to free the slaves, to save a bunch of people. So we've got his story going on, and he's our main guy. There's all this politics going on around him, and I am just fully invested in this story. I really can't wait to get back to this world, and I'm just waiting for my mind to have the mental capacity to dive back into this one because it is a dense one. We've got a lot of POVs, we've got a lot of beautiful prose that I just need the right mental space to dive into. And the next one I have to continue reading is actually Return to Sun Eater. So I've been working my way through the short stories Tales of Sun Eater Volume 1. But at some point, I'm going to have to dive back into the main series with Book 3, Demons in White. I loved Howling Dark a ton. And from what I've heard, Demon in White is even better. I can't wait to return to a space opera and follow Hadrian around and find out how he's going to wipe out the Celts and his own leadership. As we know, that is what Sun Eater is about. He tells us on page 1. That is not a spoiler. Yeah, Sun Eater just gives me Star Wars, Dune, and Name of the Wind vibes. So you just know I love it. It's so beautifully written. You need mental space to pick it up. So I usually immersive read it. So I get the audiobook on the Libby app and then read it while I listen to it. And it's just such a great time. Another series I got to continue reading on the Kindle. I have Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinnerman. And I'm on the 3rd book, The Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook. Quite a wacky name for a wacky series that's also just so fun and so brilliant to read. I can't believe how much I love Dungeon Crawler Carl. It sounds so wacky. Like, what is a lit RPG? I don't really know. I never played video games, but it's like a video game in a book. It's just so fun, and the humor is just so on the nose. Very sort of slapsticky, very sort of bro humor, like foot fetish jokes and those sorts of things. And it's just a very good time reading, one that's very good to space out to and just have a blast. There's also like a proper plot going on, and it's just very interesting. Now, on the series that I need to continue, but I'm not sure if I will, we have The Last Argument of Kings by Joe Abercrombie, book 3 of the First Law trilogy. I know I'm going to love this book. This is going to be a 5 out of 5. I'm going to love it. I just haven't felt like picking it up yet. I just haven't been hit with the motivation to pick it up. I'm not sure if I'll get to it this month or not. Then, if you've been watching my channel, you know I've recently got my family hooked on the Stormlight Archive. We've read the first 2 books together, and in the month of June, we'll be picking up Oathbringer to continue it. My dad's already started it, and he's loving it. When I first read this was my favourite of the series, though after just sitting on it and thinking about it, I now rank Words of Radiance higher, so I'm so excited to return to Oathbringer and see how it stands up the second time. I'm so keen for the Dalinar flashbacks, and I just want to spend more time with Kaladin. He's just so incredible, and every time I've read a Kaladin chapter on reread, it's been even better, and I loved him so much the first time. They're all the series I'll be continuing in June. So what are the new things that I'll be reading? Well, I need some classic fantasy. I was debating picking up the Dragonbone Chair. I really want to start some Tad Williams very soon, but I'm going to do that next month. And this month, I'm going to do Curse of the Miss Wraith by Janie Wirtz. I've just been hearing so much about her recently, and it's an 11-book series, but it's broken into a ton of different arcs. So book 1 is an arc of its own from the Wars of Lights and Shadow. Her writing sounds like it sounds like her prose is some of the best in the genre. You just got to take her chapters slow and just really slowly digest it. So I'm just going to do this like a chapter a day and just slowly go through it. So don't expect a review anytime soon for Curse of the Mist Wraith. But I can't wait to check out Jenny Wirtz and see what all this hype is about. I can't open my phone without seeing her books pop up. Then for my sci-fi classic, I'm going with a dystopian. I know those genres are different, but I feel like we get a similar sort of a thing from each of them. So I'm going to be reading 1984 by George Orwell. This is my mum's old copy. She's read this one quite a few times. As you can see, the pages are just holding in there, and it's a very well loved book. I've heard so many great things about it and that it really applies today. One of my good reading friends, Jenny, has also recommended this one to me, so I can't wait to check it out. Thank you for that recommendation, Jenny. And then after reading Salem's Lot this month, I really want to check out The Haunting of Hill House, as that book is mentioned in Salem's Lot, and I'm just intrigued. I have no idea what it's about, but it's a haunted house sort of vibe, and the audiobook's like 7 hours, so I'll just check that out on Libby. And then lastly, just a standalone modern sci-fi I wanted to check out is Artificial Wisdom by Thomas Weaver. I have no idea what this is about, but some people that have very similar tastes to me on TikTok, Christy and Maddie, have recently reviewed it, and it just sounds incredible. We're diving into that with their book club. But the most important read for this month is The Sword of Kaigan by Emma Wong. This is what we're doing in the Spaced Out Wizardly Reads book club. This one's over on Fable. We're doing it together. Fable's completely free. Come join us there. We're going to check out the most popular indie fantasy book that's currently out there. Asian inspired fantasy. I can't wait to check out this book and this author that I've heard so much about. Then after that, we'll have to see how I go. Hopefully, I get through all the books I've mentioned here, and I'd count that as a pretty great month. Please let me know what you're reading in June, and let me know what I should consider adding to my TBR.